Hello folks, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to continue discussing the Kubernetes module which I built and which is live on Crier Projects Hub. So I'll go over to the project itself, and if you haven't checked out the first video, you can do it right now so that you have some context on what this video is going to be about. So in that video, I walk through the entire project through each step, through each milestone, so you understand what this entire thing is about. And then in this video, I'm going to talk about the bring it on section. So every milestone has a bring it on section which talks about some other challenging stuff. So it pushes you to explore more than what is required for to complete the particular milestone. So in this video, I'm going to just walk you through the bring it on parts, so you do have some idea and some insight in how to approach problems like these and how you can learn all of these on your own. So I'll just do it on my own and you watch me and observe, how to get these things done. So let's just go over to my browser window for now quickly. And the project should be in this particular part. Containerized app. So this is the part where I have a lot of bring it on tasks or quests for you to check out. So there are multiple questions here. So the first question is, how are different operating systems being run on local machine? How does Docker achieve this? So when you're building Docker files, you see that you use some base image, right? So you use image like Alpine, Ubuntu or something like that. So how do you understand? So what is your intuition of how these things work? So does your operating system actually, does your laptop, which your local machine, does it actually have Alpine installed? If not, then how does it run? Because you can make app with any base image you want. You can use Ubuntu, you can use Alpine. So even if you have a Linux operating system inside, so how does all of this work? So what is the intuition behind this? This is the first question. So I would encourage you to search for this question. So I'll just maybe copy paste the entire thing and see what results I get. So I'm also really not sure about whatever I'm going to get right now because I haven't tried it before. So yeah, it's not really helpful here. So I haven't mentioned Docker itself. How does Docker run different operating systems? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you can check this particular website out. I'm not sure what this mentions, but we can just explore together. Yeah, so Docker uses containerization as a core technology which relies on the concept of sharing a kernel between containers. Yeah, so kernel, you need to know what kernel is in this first case. If one Docker image relies on a Windows kernel and another relies on Linux kernel, you cannot run those images on the same operating system. So this is really important. So if you want to learn more about what kernel is, you can just open a new tab and start searching for kernel. So this is how you go ahead. So you can click on one website, find some things, and understand that you don't understand a lot part of it. So you can go ahead and search for the particular thing, kernel. You understand what kernels are, you learn more about them. Then you get back on this particular tab and see if it makes sense anymore. If it doesn't still make sense, you can check out other websites instead of this Stack Exchange one. So this is how you go about the process of understanding things. So once you reference at least 2 or 3 articles or different websites, and then you have a clear picture on how this entire thing works. So I'm not going to do that entirely here, so I'm just giving you a heads up. And I'll close those two tabs. The next thing is, write a Docker file that accepts arguments from the command line directly and make these variables available to the code inside. So when we're running Docker commands like Docker build, and say for example, I want to have different parameters in every build. So for example, if I'm building a project if I'm building an image right now, I want some particular parameter and I want this parameter to be configurable. So I can change this parameter later in the future. So how do you achieve that? Because from what we know currently from Docker files is you write the entire thing into a file and then using Docker commands, you build the image. So all of that content is static and it doesn't appear to be flexible to change, right? But you can actually do that. You can have arguments inside of your Docker files which you can modify through the command line. So how do you do that? I've provided a link here. So you can just go ahead and click on this link and see. Link. Yeah, there you go. So you can check out this entire article on how you can have arguments and then pass those arguments through the command line. So this is how you pass command line arguments. So build argument is the flag that you use, and this is the name of the argument. Yeah, this will be inside of your Docker file using the arg command, so arg in capital. So this is, you can check out this link here, build arguments. So this is how you define an argument inside of a Docker file. So you can check out a Docker file. The first few lines would be from BusyBox would be just the base image, and then argument user1, argument build number, these are your arguments. And how do you send this arguments to your image in the process of building? You use the build argument flag. So this is how you understand this thing, and you can check out more of it. You can also experiment with it locally. The next point is how can you make a directory available to your container, right? So this is really interesting. So when you're building an image, you think of it as being isolated from your environment, from a local machine, right? So it doesn't have access to any of the, so generally, if you think about it, it doesn't have access to all of the storage devices inside of your local machine, right? So if you want it to access something, for example, if I want my container to have some lasting changes, for example, when my container runs, the application inside my container runs, it makes some changes which I want to be persisted even after the application has died out. Yeah, so how do I achieve that? So an ideal way would be to have a process in which I can mount a particular directory from my local machine to my container. So my container is able to access it. And when my container dies, this thing remains at least, right? So this is the concept behind using volumes. So I'll encourage you to explore what volumes are here and how you can define those volumes. But okay, whatever. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so this is the idea behind volumes. You can check out this entire documentation, official documentation on how to use volumes and mount. And I just explained to you a very brief idea on it. Then the question arises of using terminal inside your container. For example, we have multiple use cases. For example, I want to check out if my application is running properly or not. So I may want to check the logs in my container. How do I do that? Or maybe I want to perform some command line operation inside my container. There's a different host of use cases. So any application that you're running, and if you want it and you want to debug it or you want to check out its status, you should use command line tools. So how can you use command line tools inside of your Docker container? So this is how you explore it. The link is provided here, because a lot of the times you can also, apart from your application, you can also check out how your container is doing, like what are the volumes that are visible to your container. So if you go inside a container's terminal and then you check out the directories inside the container, you will be able to see that what are the different directories your container is able to see. It's really interesting. You should go check it out sometimes. So this is how you understand that, okay, how is this isolation achieved? Can I access other documents, other directories apart from the one which I have mounted specifically? So all of these things you can explore on your own when you are able to run a terminal inside, a shell inside of your container. So how do you do that? Using this particular command, docker exec. And I'll also encourage you to check out the official documentation of docker exec to learn more about it. It's just a forum link here, so not really much information, just straightforward, it tells you what it does. But you can go ahead and click on search for docker exec and find out what it actually does, right? And the next one is about container networking. So when you start a container, what happens behind the scenes? So because when you click docker build, it builds an image, docker run, it runs the image. But there must be a lot of other specification and the configurations going on in terms of networking as well, right? Because how does a container talk to other containers, or maybe other different niche things which I don't want to expose right now. So understanding all of that will require you to learn network namespaces in Linux and other things. So this video covers all of that. It talks about network namespace, about container networking interface, and how you can write your own plugins. So you should go check this video out for the next step. And this pretty much covers all of the bring it on points for this milestone. I'll make another video for the other milestones as well. So see you there.